Today I'm going to show you how to make a basic 3D printable earbud holder in TinkerCAD. The first thing I'm going to do is grab a basic cylinder from my shapes panel, set the sides to 50 on that cylinder just to give me a little bit of a smoother shape, and then I'll set the actual cylinder to be 80 millimeters by 40 millimeters by 5 millimeters. You can tell that I'm in millimeters by going into settings and then looking at my unit, which is in millimeters. So now, since I have the basic shape, all I need to do is cut out the little indents for the actual earbuds to be stored in. So I'm going to do that by creating some basic shapes, turning them into holes, and then using those to cut out those shapes. So in order to do that, I am going to first grab a cube that is 15 by 4 millimeters. So I'll just come over into my shapes panel, grab a cube, and set it to be 15 by 4 millimeters. The height doesn't really matter, but just for the sake of it, I will set the height to be 5 millimeters to match the height of my other object. Now I need a cylinder that is 5 millimeters by 5 millimeters, so I'm going to grab a cylinder. I'm going to set the sides to 50 again, and then I'm going to make that cylinder 5 millimeters by 5 millimeters by 5 millimeters. Now I need to align these two shapes, and you can align them just by trying to drag them into the right position, but I don't really want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the align tool. So I'm going to select both of them, I'm going to click the align tool up here, and then I'm going to align them, and then I will use the arrow keys to try to get them to line up roughly in the middle. And then I'm going to group those two objects together, and I'm going to first of all duplicate them, and then turn both of these objects into holes. Then I'll take my duplicated object, I'll select the mirror tool, and I'll mirror it. So I have the same thing, but mirrored. Now I'll place one object on one side, one on the other, and then I'm going to use the align tool again, select everything, click the align button, and then align them. So now everything is aligned along this middle axis. Now what I have to do is make sure that the objects are in the correct position horizontally, and I'm going to do that just using the arrow keys, and do that by eye. That looks pretty good. And then I'll select everything and group it. So now I've got the cutouts on either side for the earbuds to be housed in. Now I have to make these little cutouts to house the ends of the earbuds. So I'm going to grab another set of both a rectangle and a cylinder, or a cube and a cylinder. And I'm going to need a cube that is 5 millimeters by 1 millimeter. So I'm just going to grab a cube. I'm going to make it 5 millimeters by 1 millimeter. And actually I did that in the wrong direction, so I'm going to do it the other way. 5 millimeters by 1 millimeter. And I'm going to drag it over here just to get it in roughly the right spot. And I need a cylinder that is 3 millimeters by 3 millimeters. So I'm going to drag in a cylinder, set the number of sides to 50 once more, and I will set the dimensions to be 3 millimeters by 3 millimeters, and then again, just for the sake of it, I'll be setting the height of both of these to 5 millimeters. So now I can select both of these shapes, select the align tool, align them in the center, just like that, and then once again I'll come in and I'll use the arrow keys just to bump things into roughly the correct position. Then I will group everything together, turn it into a hole. I'll copy and paste it by using the copy and paste buttons up here. And then what I'll do is I will bring both of these up here. And this is going to be a little different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything. I'm going to align it, but I'm going to align everything in the center. So two of the objects are actually like right on top of each other right now. And then I'm going to kind of count how many I move them over by using the arrow key. So I'm going to move this one over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then I'm going to move the other one over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then I'm going to select both of them, and then I'm going to use the arrow keys again to move them down into what I think is roughly the correct position. Yep. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to duplicate them, not copy them. So when you copy something, it will slightly offset it from its original position, but when you duplicate something, it puts it exactly in the same position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, and then instead of hitting the paste button, which is Control or Command V, I'm going to hit the Control or Command D duplicate button. So you can't see it, but now they're in exactly the same position. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror them in this direction, and then I'm just going to use the arrow keys to move that set of holes down until it gets roughly to the correct position. That looks right, and then I'm going to select everything, and then I'm going to group it all. So now I've got holes on either side that are bigger for the main part of the earbuds, and then smaller holes to kind of hold the actual individual earbuds. Now, what I'm going to do is just for a little bit of customization, I'm going to grab some text, I'm going to put it on top, and I'm going to make the size maybe 40 millimeters by 15 millimeters, and I'm going to center it with the align tool again. I'm just going to select everything, use the align tool, align it on this axis and on this axis, and then I can put my name or whatever I want in here. Say my name is Jack. Then I can set the size to 5, maybe more like 2 millimeters tall, and I can move this around and play with it to get it in the right position. Maybe I need to make it a little smaller. Make it a little smaller in this direction. 30 millimeters looks good. And now that I moved it all around, I have to go back and align it again if I want it to be in the center. So now this piece of text is in the center, and I could group it, or I could do what I'm actually going to do, and I'm going to make it negative 2 millimeters instead, which means it's actually going into the model, and I'm going to turn it into a hole. And now I'm going to group everything, and I have a little piece of text that's actually cut in to the model. And that looks a little deep, so I'm going to go back, and I'm going to reselect. I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to reselect the text. I'm going to make it 1 millimeter instead, and bring this back up to match the surface. And then I'll select everything again, align everything again, select everything, group it. Now that you have everything designed, you're free to export this model and do as you wish with it. So just go to Export, STL, and then it will download. After you're done designing, you're also free to make any cosmetic changes you want, but this won't actually affect the printed model. After you make those changes, you can print the model, and then you can grab a pair of earbuds and use this useful 3D print to store your earbuds in a way that they will hopefully never get tangled again.